UFC 295. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Really looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on the card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. And also note, I will be live for the entire UFC 295 fight card Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight of the night. We have Denis Buzukja versus Jamall Emmers. Throughout the week, I have been picking the side of Jamall Emmers. I anticipate that his length and higher level UFC experience is going to be a big difference maker. I think that he outstrikes Buzukja for the 3 rounds. I feel as though Buzukja's wrestling offense is not going to be enough so to really give substantial threat to Emmers, who I see with solid takedown defense, who I think has better boxing here. Obviously, he's got a 3.5-inch reach advantage. Higher level fighting, yeah, he's 34, but I don't think he's out of his prime by any means. He gave Jack Jenkins a real tough go last time. It was a split decision loss. Buzukja is coming off of a loss last time out to Sean Woodson, where he did take a good amount of damage in that fight. Emmers, though, did miss weight. He came in a pound over the 145-pound weight class limit. So catch weight fight, he sacrifices a bit of his purse. This is him on the scale, and for a guy that missed weight by only 1 pound as well, like, he doesn't look so sucked out and drained. It could have just been like, fuck this. This is a hard weight cut. I'm a pound off. I'll take the fine. Because, I mean, he doesn't look like completely flat and depleted. Like, he still has fullness to his muscles. His face doesn't look crazy sunken in. But you can see in his eyes it was a hard weight cut. On the other side, we have Buzukja, who looks shredded, jacked, on weight, ready to go. And we'll now look at the face-off between these two. I feel as though the pick has got to stay the same. Like, you can see Buzukja there rehydrated, and we'll look at Emmers rehydrated. He looks fine. It's not a substantial weight miss. It's a pound off. There's them face-to-face, a little bit of intensity. I'm going to say Emmers beats Buzukja. A little bit of a confidence drop by a tad because of the weight miss. I don't know. I just think there could be something going on mentally with Jamall Emmers that we don't know about. But I am still picking him. I'm not going to change up the pick just because of a weight miss. I see him as the better fighter in this matchup here with Buzukja. With higher level experience, he should be able to win. Emmers is a minus 254 favorite, so it's gotten kind of wide with Emmers in that minus 250 range. Buzukja plus 210. I still think there's a good chance of Emmers winning. I think there's a good chance we go over 2.5, which is minus 245. Emmers to win by a decision, minus 120. Like, I'm thinking about Buzukja's side, and I'm looking at his game, thinking about his style. Do I see him taking down and strangling Emmers? Do I see him chinning with one punch? No. I don't see either of those. So he's got to outpoint him for 3 rounds. I feel like that's where Emmers is going to shine. So I'm going Jamall Emmers for the decision win over Denis Buzukja. Next fight on the card, second fight of the night. We got Joshua Van versus Kevin Borjas. Throughout the week, I've been picking Kevin Borjas, and I've said to the people, I'm confident on Borjas as a dog because of this Contender Series fight where he won as a dog, and I picked him as a dog there. So now moving forward to fight Joshua Van, who beat, the fan favorite, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, I maybe have a little bit of bias towards the other side. Nonetheless, I do think Borjas has a pretty decent kickboxing game. He's a bit taller and longer than the side of Joshua Van. We'll look at the face-off in a second between these two. I think that it's competitive. I think there's a good chance that it goes long. I like the money line side, and I've said throughout the week, I think that Joshua Van being larger than a 2-1 favorite here in this fight against Borjas doesn't make a lot of sense. 9-1, 8-1. Both guys, 25, nearly 26 for Borjas. And then on the other side, 22 for Van. They're young. I can't see these odds this favorable towards Van. So I am picking Borjas. I think he can win the fight. I like the kickboxing. I think that he can be competitive from range, touch up the side of Joshua Van. There's Borjas, who kind of looks like a flyweight Thiago Silva on the scale. Interesting look for him here. There's the front double. I mean, he looks like Borjas does. There's Joshua Van. I mean, he looks fit. Both guys look in shape. It's a flyweight fight. Nobody missed weight. Like, do we really anticipate any craziness with the scales? No. Borjas brought some intensity to the official face-offs, the ceremonials, I should say. And you can see Borjas a bit taller, a tad taller as they go face-to-face. Does have a reach advantage. It's not a substantial size edge. I don't think that Joshua Van should be a large favorite. Right now, the odds for the fight have Joshua Van at minus 225. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think Borjas is a very live underdog at plus 190. Opened up at plus 155, so it's gotten wider. I expect Borjas and Van to be competitive. Maybe Borjas with the better boxing in close, a little bit faster hands. Or rather, Van with the faster hands in boxing in close, and Borjas from striking at the kickboxing range, having an edge. Competitive 3 rounds. I'm going to pick Borjas on a decision. If you're touching it, I would just money line. I think there could be a chance of finish, but more than likely, flyweight fight, probably going long. I'm expecting 3 rounds, and I'll say Borjas gets a close one on the cards. Next fight on the card is Kang versus John Castañeda. I've been picking the side of John Castañeda throughout the week. I feel like him to win is based upon making this a dirty fight. Now, I don't mean bending the rules, grabbing the gloves, or eye gouging, but getting on the inside, throwing elbows, throwing hooks in close, shooting for takedowns. I like the dirty boxing in the clinch. Kang is going to shine if this fight is more at the kickboxing range. If he's able to get his strikes flowing from the outside. But I think that Castañeda is going to give him a lot of trouble with pressure and wrestling offense. And I see Castañeda getting it done on the judges' scorecards. I'm going John Castañeda for the win. Now, I know Kang is 4-1 in the last 5. And I mean, we can look at the last few. He beat up Christian Quinones real bad. At the end of the day, Quinones walked into some big shots and then got strangled. Dana Baccarat win, which, I mean, it's a clean W. He did lose to Hani Yahya, who's got decent wrestling and obviously jiu-jitsu-based fighter. Split decision there, split decision there. Castañeda, the Gafarov win, which I take into high regard for this matchup specifically. He was doing well against Santos before getting knocked out. Strangled Miles Johns, Eddie Wineland win, and then lost to Nathaniel Wood. I think Castañeda can pull it off. I'm picking him. I see him winning this fight. I got to say, I like Castañeda a good amount here. I just think he's going to make it dirty. I'm not sold on Kang's side on the other end. I mean, we've seen a lot of them, and I've never been over impressed. There's the front double by. Castañeda, a little bit harder of a weight cut. Throws the shades on. I mean, he's got a little bit of that fighting nerd swagger to him, even though he's not part of the team, but unofficial member with those glasses. We got Kang there at the ceremonials. Castañeda, they look the same. And then there's the face-off. If Castañeda can make this a dirty scrap, I see him winning. And I think he's gonna. I think there's a real good chance Castañeda win, guys. I'm seeing it probably a decision. I expect a scrap between both, but it's an end up going longer. I'm going to say that we got Castañeda on the judges' scorecards, but the money line is the side that I like. Minus 130 Castañeda. It's a close money favorite. And I think he's going to get a W. Plus 110 for Kang on the other side. I like Castañeda's chances. Over 2.5 is minus 205. Probably going over. There's a good chance that it does. I mean, it's not impossible of a finish, though, right? You know, it's the fight game. Nothing's ever impossible. Like this one here probably goes long, but why am I going to touch the over when I really like the money line? So I like Castañeda to win. Wouldn't really go chasing props. It's plus 165 for the decision. I think money line's your best bet. I'm picking John Castañeda to beat Kang. He's taking out Mr. Perfect. I'm riding with Castañeda for the W. Next fight, we got Jared Gordon versus Mark Madsen. I've been picking the side of Jared Gordon throughout the whole week. I respect Madsen's wrestling. I mean, he's a silver medalist in Greco-Roman, which is pretty badass. But nonetheless, the fighting side, I favor Gordon. He's got better boxing. He has solid MMA wrestling. He's pretty good in the clinch. Mark Madsen is a strong, badass wrestler who does have, obviously, great clinch work. His stand-up is iffy but improving when he's on his back. I think that he really doesn't offer a ton. If Jared Gordon can end up getting on top, that's trouble for Mark Madsen. I think Gordon's going to end up getting his hand raised. Not an easy out against Mark. I'm going to say Gordon probably wins a decision. That's what I've been picking all week. Because, I mean, Gordon's not known for the KO, but I would love to see a finish in this fight. I think there's a chance that Gordon can catch him, but Madsen in great shape. I think he's got durability. He probably ends up going to the later stages of this fight. There's Mark Madsen. I mean, he looks like a high school world history teacher that has an absolute six-pack. And then on the other side, there's Jared Gordon, who looks like Jared Gordon does, ready for fucking war. And then on the, face-off side, we got Mark Madsen with the hands up in the air, the shaved head. Looks ready to go. We got Ariane Celeste there, special guest. So I guess she's the ring girl, so it makes sense. The octagon girl, I should say. There's Jared Gordon. And then we got a handshake. We got respect. There's the face-off. I mean, Madsen's a little bit more jacked, but I'm going to say Gordon ends up winning the fight. He's scrappy. He's got some pop in the hands, even though he's not known for the KO. And I see him beating the side of Mark Madsen. We're going Jared Gordon. Official call has got to stay decision, but I want to finish. I really do. I want somebody to get knocked out. And hopefully it's Gordon winning. Minus 187 for Gordon. Madsen plus 162. There's a good chance we go over at minus 280 if you look. I mean, we got decision here, right? Decent level, all decisions, even though he got strangled there with Grant Dawson. And we got decision, submission loss to Grant Dawson, no shame. Decision win over Joe Selecki. I think that decided Jared Gordon wins a hard 3 rounds. Could be 2-1. I see it as competitive. And we know Gordon's coming off of the headbutt knockout against Bobby Green, which was a no contest. But as good as Bobby Green's looking, and I mean, for as long as it lasted, Jared Gordon had pretty good hands that fight. So I think Gordon might look real crisp against Madsen. That's why I don't think it's crazy to say Gordon could chin him. I know it's not likely for Gordon because he's not known for it, but he's got better boxing. Plus 550 knockout. We're in New York. I can see a KO, and plus 550, it's like a little bit of a Hail Mary prop to throw out, but I'm picking Gordon definitely to win. Next fight on the card, Nazim Sadykhov versus Vyacheslav Borshchev. I like the side of Vyacheslav Borshchev to win, and obviously there's going to be a lot of love on Nazim Sadykhov because a lot of people will look to Borshchev and say he has zero grappling, but also they don't take into consideration the improvements that this guy is absolutely working his ass off to make training at Team Alpha Male. When you look at the guys he lost to, Mark Jacasey a year and 5 months ago, who is known for pretty decent grind-heavy wrestling, and he was able to pull it off over Kawe Fernandez, who's actually not horrible on the ground. Granted, yes, not a great loss in the way that it was dealt with. Mike Davis, who's a pretty well-rounded guy, lost to Gilbert Burns. Not a lot of shame in that L. And then they throw him a striker, and he knocks Mahashate out. He works a good jab. He rips to the body. I like Slava Claus's stand-up. I think he's the better striker between him and Sadykhov. And I don't feel like Sadykhov is going to have an easy time getting this thing to the floor. And when we're striking, he's in trouble. Look at Sadykhov's UFC run. The Terrence McKinney fight, where he did grab the cage before locking in the rear naked, and he was losing dominantly in the first round. Evan Elder fight. Evan Elder was winning up until the doctor stoppage. And now he's fighting Vyacheslav Borshchev, who I think is going to be a hell matchup. And I think is going to end up hurting him on the feet. I'm going to go Borshchev, and I'm going to say we get a KO. I think he knocks Nazim Sadykhov out. And, I don't know, showcases the skills to a lot of people. I think his stand-up's getting slept on a bit because of a couple L's. There's Sadykhov. There was Borshchev before. Both guys looking in great shape, ready to fight. And let's scroll it down to the face-off. We got Borshchev at the ceremonial weigh-ins. There's Sadykhov. We got a lot of Sadykhov. A lot of love for Sadykhov by the photographers. We got a handshake, respect, frames. You can see the height slightly favoring the side of Vyacheslav Borshchev. Both guys have good energy and confidence at the weigh-ins. I think Borshchev can win, though. I think his jab is going to work here against Sadykhov. think a lot of people sleep on Sadykhov's game. But you know what? I'm saying Sadykhov, but I'm meaning Borshchev's game. I know even Sadykhov, though, he's got a decent game. Like, I don't want to make it seem like this is a no chance fight. Sadykhov in southpaw, I think, could get hurt. I think it could be a body shot from Borshchev as he closes the gap that could do damage. I'm going to pick Borshchev, and I'm going to say he gets a second or third round knockout in this fight. I'm going to go towards the side of the slight underdog, Vyacheslav Borshchev, who's plus 125 as a dog, with Nazim Sadykhov at minus 145. Borshchev KO plus 250. I mean, money line is your best bet. If you're going to throw down this one money line, yeah, there's a knockout prop, plus 250. It's possible, for sure. But what if Borshchev then wins the decision? And you're like, what the hell? So if you're looking to throw at it, I do think Borshchev is a live underdog. I feel like his stand-up is being underestimated here. And also a lot of people are like, yo, he's going to just go right down. Like, he's going to just tumble over like he's got no legs. I expect solid takedown defense. And I expect some get-ups. And I think on the feet, Nazim Sadykhov is in trouble with Vyacheslav Borshchev. So, very interested in the fight. Next fight on the card, we got Mateusz Rębecki versus Roosevelt Roberts. I have to pick the side of Rębecki here. And note that Roberts missed weight. He came in at 158 pounds for this 156-pound with the 1-pound allowance lightweight fight. But he's taking it on 4 days' notice. I don't know why they didn't just agree upon 160 from the start. But hey, nonetheless, Roberts is a really long guy, but damn, he's skinny. And when we talk about grappling with Rębecki, I think he's going to have a clear edge. And I see him getting on top of Roosevelt Roberts. And due to Roberts having a very short camp for this fight and probably not in top-tier shape, I think he gasses out and then gets finished. I could see Rębecki TKO'ing him with ground and pound, but the submission seems likely. Roberts, I'm happy to have him back in the UFC. I like his skill set. I like Roosevelt Roberts a lot, and I would say I'm a fan. I liked him on The Ultimate Fighter. I thought that he had a good chance to win the show. But Rębecki on 4 days' notice, as ferocious as Rębecki is, it's not an easy task. I could see him getting the knockout on the feet too, like Roberts, trying to touch him from the outside, but he doesn't have a lot of power. Then he's gassing out, and Rębecki's throwing hammering hooks at his face and just chins him. I could see that in the second round. Yeah, we're going towards the side of Rębecki, guys. Roosevelt, hard weight cut. Didn't look happy there. He looks very thin. Granted, he's always thin, but this is like without the camp thin. And then Rębecki, who looks fucking bodybuilding-like. The dude looks jacked. Looks like a, Jersey muscle head. Like a Jersey Shore steroid head. That's how he kind of looks here. But, I'm not saying he's taking the roids or anything. I'm just saying that's kind of how he looks. And we're in New York, so it flows for him. The look flows for him. There's Uriah Faber in the house. Look at that. Roberts there, filled up. Dude, Rębecki looks ready to kill. And then there's the face-off between these two. Big height difference. Rębecki's head is way smaller. Like, if you're just looking at the heads, right? Cover the bodies for a second. It looks like we got a guy who's 265 taking on a fucking 55er. But no, when you look at the frames, you're like, oh shit. Roberts has got the head of a heavyweight. Unfortunately, I think that can also get him locked into strangles. So I'm going to say we got Mateusz Rębecki getting the win. I think he probably gets a sub. It won't blow my mind if he knocks him out either. I think we got violence in this fight. I'll tell you that. I think we're going under the 2.5 mark. Now, looking at the money line odds, of course, Rębecki's a minus 700 favorite. 4 days notice for Roberts. Plus 500 Roberts. On a full camp, this is 3-1. Minus 300 Rębecki. He still would be my pick to win. I think he's going to get it done. Under 2.5, minus 200 makes a lot of sense. Rębecki by sub plus 250. I think there's a good chance of that. The knockout is plus 165. Like I'm saying, possible, but I think Rębecki subs him, man. I think he beats him up a bit and then strangles him. So I'm going Rębecki win by submission over Roosevelt Roberts in an unfortunately rude comeback to the UFC, but at least he's on the roster. And they'll give him another fight. Next fight on the card. The ladies going after it. We got Tabatha Ricci versus Lupita Godinez. I have been picking the side of Tabatha Ricci throughout the week. I think that she has decent stand-up that matches Lupita Godinez. Godinez probably going to look to shoot at some point with the wrestling, but Ricci is going to have the better grappling. I think her jiu-jitsu base is obviously a big factor in this fight, and she's very athletic. I see a competitive fight between both these girls. I'm looking forward to seeing how the stand-up game collides for both, but I could see Ricci landing some good shots on Lupita Godinez. I think she's a little quicker. I think she's a little more explosive. I think she's a little bit better on the feet, a little bit more bounce to her. Lupita Godinez might have good wrestling here, but do you want to play in the game of Ricci on the ground? It's a risky task, and I don't think she's easy to take down. I'm going Tabatha Ricci, guys. I think she gets a win by decision in this fight. I like the Ricci side for the win. Let's look at Lupi. There is Lupi on the scale. Looks like Lupi does. Solid shape for her. There's Tabatha Ricci on the scale. She looks honestly in tremendous shape. She looks amazing on the scale. Tabatha Ricci looks ready to go. She looks shredded out. Looks like a damn swimsuit model over here, but with the muscle mass to also, I think, aid in the grappling position. So I think there's a good chance that Tabatha Ricci gets a win. There's Lupi. Like, I don't know. Lupi just looks flat to me right now. I don't feel the energy from her. I didn't feel it when I watched it either. But Ricci, she looks ready to win. Look at her. She's ready to go, guys. She's got the rosary in her hand. In the face-off. Tabatha Ricci, guys. Tabatha Ricci for the win. Lock it up, man. Lock it up. Lock it up. All right, let's look. Let's look here at the odds. Ricci is a plus 150 underdog. I think she's going to look like a 2-1 favorite. Minus 175, Godinez the favorite. Give me Ricci for the decision. Minus 400 for the over 2.5. Ricci, the money line, is the A side. Ricci by decision sits at plus 175. The money line's better. Just money line it. Why you got to chase for a little extra plus when you don't have to worry about method of victory? I think Tabatha Ricci's getting her hand raised. I see her beating the side of Lupita Godinez, and I think she's a contender on the come up at 115 pounds. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight, we got Steve Erceg versus Alessandro Costa. I've been picking the side of Steve Erceg all week, and I think that he's going to look pretty good here in his fight against Alessandro Costa. His kickboxing from distance will probably lead him to the win. I can even see him dropping Costa at some point, but I think it's going to be hard to finish Costa off. Costa's going to be looking to throw big hooks and close the gap, and that's kind of where I can see Erceg landing counter straights. Expect Costa to be attacking the taller man's legs. Erceg's got pretty good leg kicks as well, and I'll anticipate that he's going to be able to defend those leg kicks coming from Costa pretty well too, and then making him pay on the return. I think Steve Erceg, I think he can get a decision. I think Costa's pretty tough, man. He's a good prospect too. Both guys good prospects. Win last fight over Jimmy Flick. He destroyed him. And then before that, Amir Albazi beat him. But there's no shame in the Amir Albazi loss. Win over David Dvorak last time out. And then, you're digging back to Eternal MMA. I got to go with the Australian. I think Steve Erceg's a bad man. His frame is going to have you fooled. Last time when he was fighting Dvorak, I remember I pick flipped towards Dvorak after the weigh-ins because I felt like Erceg didn't look great. There is Alessandro Costa, jacked, shredded, ready to kill. There is Steve Erceg. I mean, he's got, a thin frame to him. The dude doesn't need to have a badass build, though, because I think his fighting does all the damn talking. I'm picking Erceg. I'm not falling into the trap just because he looks bad on the scale. Don't matter. And I think he looks better on the scale this time than the Dvorak fight, which he won. There's Costa. There is Erceg. And there's a face-off. You can see Erceg with the height advantage. I think Steve Erceg's getting his hand raised. I see him as a pretty good flyweight and getting a win over Alessandro Costa here. That's going to be a big W. I know Costa jumping in on short notice, but still an awesome matchup of prospects because Costa's only loss in the UFC is Amir Albazi, who's a top 5 contender. So right now, Alessandro Costa could easily be top 10. Very excited. I think this fight will tell a lot for both guys. We're going to learn a ton about them. And I always am intrigued by these type of prospect matchups because for Erceg, yes, he's going to be the favorite. Look at the odds. He's sitting at minus 190. Costa plus 165. So Erceg, the prospect that's expected to win, but nonetheless, they're both prospects. One's just unbeaten in the UFC. We're going to find out. We're going to find out, is Erceg actually a top tier prospect? We'll see. Costa not going to make it easy, but I think Erceg is. Minus 190 for Steve Erceg. Over 2.5, minus 146. Like, we probably go over, but with the crowd, I'm not touching the over. With Costa, who I feel like might get energized, start throwing bombs late if he's down behind, I could see him getting stopped. Or I could see him landing a huge punch. Erceg by a decision is my official call, plus 200. Erceg by KO, plus 350. Sub, plus 440. I mean, he's got a good amount of subs, man. But is he going to sub up? Is he going to sub up the Brazilian? At that point, listen, I'm just looking at degenerate. Erceg sub is plus 440. It's just a wide line, maybe. But he would probably have to hurt Costa before locking up a sub, not just pure jiu-jitsu strangle. So I'm going with Steve Erceg to get the win. I think decision, but like, I'll be honest, something I'm feeling inside as we're talking about it, submission's making sense to me right now. I think there's going to be a finish in this fight in my heart. So it goes against the official call, but that's like the Mystic Mac, slight delusional psychic abilities pre-fight. I'm having a vision of it right now. And I'm picking Erceg to get the win nonetheless. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Pat Sabatini versus Diego Lopes. Throughout the week, I've been picking Pat Sabatini, and it's not really a super popular pick. A lot of people love Diego Lopes as an underdog in this fight here. I just feel as though Pat Sabatini's ground control is going to be a factor. I see him on the top position in this fight. Diego Lopes getting caught attacking from bottom, but having difficulties with the strong Sabatini on top of him. I can see Sabatini at the end getting his hand raised on the judges' scorecards. Looking at the weigh-ins, let's check these guys out. There is the side of Pat Sabatini. There is the side of Diego Lopes. Typical Lopes look, typical Sabatini. We got Sabatini on the official scales here for the ceremonial weigh-in. Then you got Lopes here. I mean, the scale, nothing crazy from there. You know Lopes is taller. Sabatini a little thicker. I feel like Pat Sabatini's going to end up getting a decision win in a weird fight where Lopes is going to be attacking a lot from the bottom, but he's willing to give up bottom position, right, and be put there, whereas Sabatini on top is just going to end up winning the rounds, even if not a lot happens. I'm going Sabatini, guys. I got to pick him. I'm sticking with my initial. I think his frame is going to give Lopes's grappling style difficulty. And Sabatini's a good grappler. Minus 120 for Sabatini. Diego Lopes plus 100. Give me Pat Sabatini for the win. Decision plus 200. I mean, if you're touching this fight, you're probably just money lining it, or you're going over looking for plus. Over 2.5 at plus 110. I don't think it's going to be easy for Lopes to win by finish, nor is it for Sabatini. It's hard for me to see either one of these guys scoring a knockout on the feet. So I'm going for Pat Sabatini. I'm going to say he gets it done by a competitive decision. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight. Matt Frevola versus Benoit Saint Denis. Holy shit, I love this fight. I'm picking Matt Frevola as an underdog. I think that his punching power is a big difference maker. He's riding a 3-fight knockout streak. Gennaro Valdez, Otoman Azaitar, and also Drew Dober, who obviously is the most impressive one. And if you're fighting with Benoit Saint Denis, you know that he's got great pressure. and he wrestles well. He beats opponents up and tends to break them. I don't see him breaking Matt Frevola. I think Frevola is going to be ready for a good scrap. I think his takedown defense is going to be solid. Frevola has clearly the better punching. And Benoit Saint Denis comes in a bit stiff. And if Frevola catches him over the top, it could be lights out. And I'm going to predict that it will be lights out. I'm going Matt Frevola underdog, win by knockout in this fight. Benoit Saint Denis also a southpaw, so it's going to be interesting to see how he closes that gap. Looking at what Frevola did last time out to southpaw Drew Dober, that's straight down the line with the right hand. Might lay him clean. So I like Matt Frevola to pull it off, guys. I'm picking the underdog here. Let's look at the scales. Benoit Saint Denis looking psychotic on the scales in New York. Good shape for sure, though. Matt Frevola looking kind of like Carmelo Anthony with the cornrows, man. Maybe like a mix of him and Blake Griffin with the red beard. Kind of surprised, man. Maybe he's looking for a Spartan type look. I guess you could also say he looks like Nicholas Dalby. I think he's going to get the KO. I'm saying the cornrows actually bring some aerodynamicity to his game more so than before. I don't even know if that's a word, but you know what? We're using it. There's Benoit with the French flag. He's a French version of a Navy SEAL, ex-military. Then we got Matt Frevola, Mr. USA, believe ex-Army, stateside. The All-American, Matt Frevola with the flag. I'm glad to have flags back. And then we got a, I don't know, anime-style face-off with Frevola down low, putting his fist up. I think he's saying, listen, I'm knocking you out. And then we go face-to-face. I'm thinking Frevola's going to chin him, man. I think Benoit's getting caught with a big punch over the top, and he's going to bed in this fight. I'm picking Matt Frevola. I'm picking knockout. I'm going underdog. Plus 195 for the side of Matt Frevola. Minus 230 for Benoit Saint Denis. I don't think Matt Frevola should be a plus 195 dog in this fight. He's proven a lot. I know Benoit just beat Thiago Moises, who's decent. But Matt Frevola has some dynamite in his hands. And I think that he's going to deliver some danger in this fight. I'm going Frevola by KO. Plus 315 for Frevola to win by knockout here. I will say he gets the knockout. Yeah, I like Frevola money line, or I like the knockout. Plus 115. I feel like if you're picking Benoit Saint Denis, you'd probably think it goes over 1.5. I don't see Benoit running over Frevola in a round. Even if Benoit's to win, I'd anticipate Benoit would get it on the cards. So if you're on Benoit, that over 1.5. But I think Frevola is going to chin him. And I think it's possible in those first 2 rounds. So Frevola, KO, and what should be a violent fight that I can't wait to see. Next fight on the card, it's our featured bout of the night. We got the ladies going after it again. We got Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern. Unfortunately, battle of the divorcees here. Both of them coming through with recent divorces. On the side of Andrade, she's taking fights left and right to pay for that divorce. 3-fight losing streak, seems to have lost a step. In all reality, she seems to have lost a step. On the side of Mackenzie Dern, coming off of a clean win over Angela Hill, where I think she looked pretty good. I have to go towards Mackenzie Dern to win because what she's done for me lately has been victory. As the side of Andrade looks kind of checked out at this point. So we're going with Dern because of Andrade potentially having mental lapse and no longer the fire that, once brought her to the highest heights of the fight game. I'm going to pick the side of Dern, guys. We're going with Dern for the win. Let's look at the scales. I'm calling sub. Jessica Andrade, Mackenzie Dern. Let's see how they look. There's Mackenzie Dern. She looks good on the scale and ready to rock. She looks in great shape. She looks good. Fingers up in the air and ready to go. Jessica Andrade looks like herself. She looks like Jessica Andrade does. Normal Andrade, pretty good shape. I don't know where the mind's at with her. I worry it's not there anymore. We'll look at these ceremonials real quick as we fly through it. Mackenzie Dern get breast implants. Does that look natural to you guys? I have to mention it. I'm sorry. I just noticed it at this weigh-in, at the officials. Hopefully it's just a bad angle, but I don't know. I guess not hopefully. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. Just an interesting note. There's the side of Jessica Andrade. She looks like Andrade, yo. She looks like a young lad. And then we got the face-off where, like, Mackenzie Dern was going to go orthodox, but then switched to southpaw to get on the inside of Jessica Andrade. It was kind of awkward. Andrade still looks like a badass at the face-offs, but she looks kind of old. She's not old, though. She's only 32, but I think the weathering of the game mentally, she looks drained in her eyes. I got to ride with Dern. I'm going to pick Dern to win by submission. I'm going against the OG Andrade. If this fight is a year ago, I'm picking Andrade all day. But now, this game is about what have you done for me lately? And lately, Andrade's been taking L's. And I'm going to anticipate 4 in a row. That sucks for her. Because I like Andrade. She's been around forever. World champ. Minus 210 Dern. Plus 180 Andrade. Give me the side of Dern for the win. And I'm going to call a submission victory for her. She's plus 120 for that win by sub. Give me Mackenzie Dern. Win by submission. She's going to get the fight, guys. It's just unfortunate for Andrade, the OG, to go down like this. 3 straight. The Blanchfield one's acceptable. Yan Xiaonan, I mean, she walked into that punch coming wild. It's like she's like, fuck this. I'm swinging wild or I'm getting knocked out. And she got knocked out. And then Suarez was expected to dominate her. She's in an epic grappler, we could say. And then on the other side of Dern, though, really good grappling too, which I think at this point gives Andrade trouble. So we're going with Dern by sub. Next fight on the card, we got Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. We got a good battle here between these two heavyweights. It's our co-main event of the evening for the interim heavyweight championship. I've been picking Sergey Pavlovich all week, and I called him the lock of the week. Why? Because I believe in the heavyweight boxing of this guy. His hands are straight dynamite. He has an incredibly long reach, historically long. 6'3", 6'3", with an 84-inch reach. That's wild wingspan. John Jones is 6'4" with the 84.5. So half an inch wingspan more for Jones, even though he's a freaking inch taller. So the percentage is actually better for Pavlovich. He's a freak of nature, and his boxing is really good. He's got a wrestling background that everybody wants to brush off because of the Overeem fight in his debut. I have conspiracies about his UFC debut. I believe that outside of the UFC, Sergey Pavlovich was probably taking, the Russian supplements, we'll say. And when you come to the UFC, you can no longer take those things. But your body does eventually bounce back from it. It took him a little bit of time. You dig in, he was what? Fighting against Overeem in what year? Now I got to dig into this exactly. He fought Overeem in 2018. Then in 2019, ends up taking on Marcelo Gome, Maurice Green, lower tier opposition, but I mean, shit. He ran him over with relative ease. But then you can see the long layoff. And then it's like we had a new version of him come. Everybody had forgotten. Everybody forgot. He got injured, right? Visa issues, travel issues. He couldn't get into the country. This right here, this layoff right here, I think was the best thing that ever happened to him. Sure, he's going to kill Maurice Green without an ounce of testosterone. He's going to knock out Marcelo Gome in one shot. Waking up in the morning, straight out of bed. But then when you look into, okay, Shamil Abdurahimov's a fight. He's a decent fighter. Running through Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, Curtis Blades. His body has acclimated, right? He's reached the point now of homeostasis. I believe that his frame is now perfect for his fighting style. His punching power is as scary as always. I think that he's going to be bringing big shots to Tom Aspinall's face. I expect Aspinall to try to explode inside and wrestle, and he's going to be like, oh, fuck. This guy is hard to move, and he's going to eat a bomb. And I see Tommy Aspinall knocked down, knocked out, finished off. I think Pavlovich KOs him in the first round. It's going to be a brutal fight. I got to ride with the side of Pavlovich. Look at the weight, 259.8 Pavlovich, Aspinall, 261.6. We're going to look at them on the official scales and check these savages out. But I wanted to give you guys the in-depth picks and breakdown right away. There's Tommy Boy, Tom Aspinall. Look at the frame. Look at the little belly on the inside here, right? Look at the sides. Not saying Tom Aspinall shredded always, right? But he doesn't look in as good shape as normal. Why? He took this fight on 2.5 weeks. Pavlovich was preparing to be the backup. There's Tom Aspinall with the hands up. That don't look like the heavyweight champ to me. Interim or not, I don't see it. I don't see it. Not right now. Eventually, maybe. Not right now. Not right now. Not right now, guys. Pavlovich, the Russian killer. Now, he's not shredded to the gills either. Nobody here is winning a physique contest. But I think he's prepared. I think his body's going to be more ready for war at this point. This looks a little firmer. It's not like he's got this great fucking frame where he looks shredded out like Ngannou, but a little firmer. That full camp effect. The full camp effect. It's not existent there with Tom Aspinall. Guys, if you're on Aspinall, I'm telling you, the boy's going to bed. There's Tommy Aspinall. He's happy to be there. Listen, of course he's nervous. He's got nervous energy always heading into his fights. He looks solid there flexing out, though. I'll give him credit where it's due. Pavlovich looks fucking wide as a house. Looks like a Russian fucking machine. Then we got the handshake. Pavlovich, nose to nose. There ain't much of a height difference. It's 6'5", 6'3". They might as well be both 6'3.5" and then 6'4". And the range obviously favors the side of Pavlovich. Power favors the side of Pavlovich. Many will say, though, oh, Aspinall's jiu-jitsu. Okay, how easy is it going to be to get Sergey Pavlovich down? And then besides how easy it's going to be to get Pavlovich down, because it's not going to be, if you get him down, to take hold of this man and just run him over, I don't see it. You got to walk through fire to even get there, and I don't see it. Minus 110, Pavlovich is now an even line. Tom Aspinall, minus 110. I like Pavlovich. He was an underdog all week, as I called him the lock, and I like him here. Under 2.5 probably. Minus 550. Under 1.5, minus 215. Pavlovich to win by KO, sitting at plus 120. I anticipate a knockout win. I see him getting it done in the first round, guys. I'll look at the first round prop. Pavlovich to win by knockout in the first round, plus 215. I think he's going to come out fast on Aspinall, who doesn't have that full camp, and blitz him, and he's going to KO him. Sergey Pavlovich, the new UFC interim heavyweight champion, and I can't wait. And he's the lock of the week. Listen, 10 weeks unbeaten. Last week I had a draw. This week, we're snapping it back on track with another win. We're going to be 10-0-1 in the past 11 weeks. That's an 11-week unbeaten streak incoming. Let's go. Sergey Pavlovich for the W. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. I am picking Alex Poatan Pereira to knock out Yuri Prochazka. There has to be a little bit of concern on Yuri's side because of the shoulder, but also the fact that he absorbs a lot of damage. He's a guy that's willing to take shots to land his own, and normally he's chinning everybody. He's fucking them up. But he's going to be met with a kickboxing force that he hasn't dealt with before. Alex Pereira has tremendous power in his hooks. He has obviously an improved grappling game. Nonetheless, I would say Yuri Prochazka is probably better offensively with the wrestling, but I see him striking. I see a war in the stand-up between these two. And I think Prochazka is going to walk into a left hook in the second round. Violent first round. I can see Prochazka stunning Pereira a bit on the feet and then walking into something. I think he's going to come out calculated in the first minute, and then it's going to heat up fast into what's going to be an absolutely epic fight. I think Pereira could get a first round knockout as well. I see the hook landing, and I see just precision, perfect shot, KO win. Alex Pereira with the hook in the first 2 rounds, guys. Poatan for the W. I see him getting the light heavyweight belt, which is crazy to think. But he's that dude right now. Stylistically, the matchup favors him. And then he avenges Glover Teixeira as well. Potentially fighting Jamall Hill in what's going to be a crazy fight, looking to avenge his coach and mentor as well. So we got a crazy storyline if he wins. But nonetheless, if Prochazka won, Jamall Hill, Prochazka's epic. There's Alex Pereira on the scale, looking good, ready to go, filled into 205. He looks like he's still cutting a lot of weight. And it's 205 now. UFC belt on his bicep and the Glory belt on the other side. Just got inducted into the Glory Hall of Fame. There's Yuri Prochazka. Looks like a madman as always. How's that shoulder going to look? It looks funky. Looks a little funky. I'm 99.9% sure it's the right shoulder. Looks slightly off. I don't know. Some weird rippling to the muscle. I'm hyped to see. I'm hyped to see. I can't wait to see what these guys bring. I think awesome fight in store. Nonetheless, I'm picking the side of Alex Pereira, Poatan. Let's scroll it down. All right, we got every fucking Aspinall pick. Poatan was in the full suit, the full headdress, everything. If it would load, that'd be great. There we go. There's Poatan. Looks sick at the ceremonials. Like a real Aztec warrior. And then we got the samurai on the other side. Holy shit, I'm telling you, look at the right side, guys. Look at the right side. The muscle atrophy is there. You can see. That was a shoulder injury. I saw people throwing out criticism saying, no, it was fake on Twitter, like implying he really was taking steroids or something. No. That shoulder looks off. That shoulder's not the same. And you're going to need that hand to keep up because Pereira's got bombs to drop. It's a badass face-off. I'm going Poatan knockout, guys. And what's going to be an epic fight? I think Alex Pereira knocks out Yuri Prochazka, becomes the UFC light heavyweight champion. Then the Jamall Hill fight waiting in the wings, which I think is going to be epic too. Plus 108, Prochazka's a dog. Pereira minus 127, the favorite in this fight. Under 1.5, plus 135. We got a real chance of under, though. If the violence is going early on, somebody could go to bed right away. Pereira by KO, my official pick, plus 115. I think he's going to get a knockout win. I'd be shocked if this fight goes 5 rounds. Under 4.5 rounds, minus 460, yes. Under 3.5, minus 275, yes. Under 3.5 makes a lot of sense. Under 1.5 is riskier, but I could see it. Alex Pereira for the knockout, main event winner, and what's going to be an epic fight that I cannot wait for, guys. But we're not done yet. It's the post-weigh-in parlays to play. What are we going to do here? What are we going to parlay up post-weigh-in? All right, let's find it here. I saw the 295 prelims that I don't want to touch. John Castañeda, Sergey Pavlovich, plus 244 with Steve Erceg on your lineup. I'm telling you, this makes a lot of sense. Plus 423. This one makes a lot of sense. Throw a dog, Ricci in. Now you got plus 1207. Throw in Frevola too. Now you got plus 3820. Take out the side of Pavlovich. Take out the side of Ricci. Let's take out Pavlovich real quick. Which Pavlovich did I put on over here? No, I'm clicking Aspinall. That's the problem. Plus 721, Castañeda, Erceg, and Frevola. But if you don't want to play Castañeda, you're like, fuck the early night. Plus 356. You don't want to play Matt Frevola. Maybe you're a Benoit guy. Steve Erceg with Tabatha Ricci could be interesting at plus 280. What does Rębecki give me? Plus 349? And he's got a good shot. The over in this fight, which makes sense. Plus 513. Taking out Ricci, plus 145. Even just with the over in the Gordon Madsen fight. Erceg and Mateusz Rębecki, plus 145. Add in Pavlovich. I love this one. Plus 390. There's a good chance this hits. You don't want Rębecki, though. Take him out. Plus 315 still with Erceg, Pavlovich in the over. Things can flow beautifully on this card. There's some good ways to line it up, man. I like the 2-3 fighter ones. Like, obviously, you know, we can go mad and we can go fucking crazy and add everybody in. And get the wild-ass lines. Looking for the savage mode. I'll have Rębecki here. Plus 6,518. Erceg, the over in the Gordon fight. Pavlovich, Ricci, I should say. Frevola, Castañeda, Rębecki. If I take out the side of Frevola, take out the side of Ricci, and instead just play the over in the Ricci fight, which also probably hits. Plus 1,000 for 2 overs. Pavlovich, Castañeda, Rębecki, Erceg. Let's put the over in the Emmers fight out of curiosity. Let's see what we got now. Plus 1493. That's balls right there. But you guys know what I'm thinking. If you've been following throughout the week, you know where my head's at. Post weigh-in, confidence on Pavlovich is very high. I like Erceg's chances a lot. I think Rębecki should definitely win. John Castañeda in a scrap is going to come through. Jared Gordon, I think, gets it over Marco Madsen, but Madsen looked in great shape. Nonetheless, I got to give him some respect where it's due. Guys, that is UFC 295. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Definitely let me know what your picks are in the comments down below. I want to hear what you think of mine. Post weigh-in, do we got any pick flips from the people? Not from me, but I know some of you are going to be pick flipping something. Let me know in the comments if you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content. As always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thank you all for watching. Smash the likes. If you're new, subscribe. And turn those post notifications on too. Don't just put them on personalized. Put them on all so you don't miss a video because I got daily content dropping on the channel. Mad love to each and every one of you. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.